Hi guys, it's Sam from Creatively Sam's, and today's Tasty Tuesday is Swiss steak. If you want to see how I did this, stay tuned. It's coming up next. Okay, what you need is a 1/4 cup of flour, a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper, and 2 pounds of round steak, roughly 1 inch thick. And the first thing I'm going to do is mix these together and pound them into the steak. Okay, in a bowl I'm going to mix the 1/4 cup of flour, the 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper together. Okay, in a large skillet you need 2 tablespoons of shortening or oil. You want to heat this up on a medium heat. And you've got a 1/4 cup of water sitting here in case you need it, which most of the time you do. And I have mixed up the flour, the salt, and the pepper, and I'm going to pound 1/2 of this into one side of the steak. And the round steak is, I couldn't exactly find 1 inch thick. This is about 3/4 of an inch, but I'm going to take about 1/2 and put that on the one side, and we're going to pound it in there. And you really can't see what I'm doing. There we go. And you're just going to pound that in. Yeah, I know, it makes a mess. Oh boy, it is so worth it. And I'm going to flip this over and repeat, and then I'm going to put it into the oil. Okay, once you've got the flour all pounded in, you want to brown the meat on both sides. And we're browning this on real low heat. And we'll be back. We're gonna brown it on one side and flip it over to the other. And I'll be back when I'm done with that. And browning this takes about 15 minutes. But once it's totally browned on both sides, then I'll be adding water and covering it and simmering this on very low heat. And I don't know if it's the pounding the flour in or if it's cooking it on super low heat or a combination of both, but this turns out so tender. It's amazing. So we'll be back after it's pretty much browned. It's been about 15 minutes, and I'm going to add the 1/4 cup of water. And I'm going to put this lid on here, nice and tight. And this is going to simmer on a very low heat for 1 hour. And we'll be back. Well, it's been cooking for half an hour. Look at that, it's making a gravy. Okay, about another half hour. And then we will mix all the other stuff together, put that in, and finish this up. Okay, now what you need is 1 can, 14.5 ounces of diced tomatoes, a 1/2 cup of minced onion, a 1/4 cup of minced green bell pepper, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and 1/8 teaspoon of pepper. And we're going to mix that all together, and we're going to be adding that to the steak once it's been done simmering. Okay, the hour is up. Oh boy, does that look good. Okay, now I'm just going to mix the can of diced tomatoes with the half a cup of minced onions and a quarter cup of minced green peppers, half a teaspoon of salt, and 1/8 of a teaspoon of pepper. And I gotta admit, yours may not look this as crowded as mine because the it calls for 2 pounds of the round steak. This was almost 3 pounds, but instead of freezing 1 pound, I decided to cook it all because I know my son and I are going to eat this like crazy. Alright, it's all mixed up. Now it actually looks a little more like stewed tomatoes. The only difference of that is it's not as sweet. I'm just going to pour this over. Smooth it out. And I'm going to put the lid back on, and I'm going to let this simmer slowly for another 30 minutes. And we're going to have Swiss steak. Okay, 30 minutes is up. Ah, that looks amazing. To be honest with you, I really like this served over rice. I didn't make any. But this is the type of meal that you can serve over rice, noodles, mashed potatoes. It's really excellent. So I'm going to get this out of the pan, onto a plate, and we'll see how it tastes. Okay, I've got this all nice and plated. Oh, look how tender that is. Like I said, I'm not sure if it's because of the using the meat tenderizer and pounding it, or if it's because it's cooked so long on such a low temperature. Oh, that is so good. This really makes a great gravy when it's on potatoes or noodles or rice. But yeah, this is a good old-fashioned stick to your ribs kind of meal. So if you like what you saw, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and happy creating, everyone.